Welcome to our Future of Manufacturing session, Hands in the Now, Eyes in the Future, and how to prepare for continuous uncertainty and volatility in manufacturing. My name is Stefanie Naujoks, and I'm part of IDC's Manufacturing Insights team. So for sure, 2020 has been a year of unprecedented challenges for manufacturing organizations. So the global corona pandemic has exposed manufacturers to disrupted supply chains. Lockdowns forced manufacturers to close temporarily sales channels, or manufacturers were faced with temporary closure of sales channels, or showrooms and trade fairs have been cancelled. Social distancing measures made in-person customer visits and field servicing partially impossible, and workforce limitations caused severe challenges related to workplace layout planning on the shop floor, for example. And also health and safety measures and the resulting quarantine rules partially led to a temporary shutdown even of production plants. So the big question is actually, how are manufacturers recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic? And our research shows that by the end of 2021, for 82% of European manufacturers, businesses will actually run as usual, meaning that their business hasn't been negatively impacted by the crisis at all, or their business has already recovered or will start recovering in the second half of 2021. Nevertheless, there are actually some new challenges ahead that manufacturers are faced with and which they need to address. There is a global shortage of microchips, which in the automotive industry partially has already again led to closure of selected production plants. But there is also a lack of other key supplies, such as aluminium, which is also needed in the automotive production. There's a lack of construction material, but also a lack of shipping containers, which also causes severe challenges related to in-time logistics planning. And manufacturers are actually also quite challenged by the partially dynamic increase of energy costs, which we currently see in the market. So the lessons learned from the corona pandemic and the new challenges ahead show very well that going forward, every manufacturer needs to be better prepared than in the past for any unexpected events or for any changing market conditions. And how does this impact manufacturers' IT investment plans? And here, our research shows that manufacturers plan for 44% of their IT investments being related to maintain, run, and update of existing systems and regulatory compliance issues. And this is, of course, important because manufacturers that are right after a crisis need to have the hands in the now, but also their eyes in the future. This means they also need to have on their radar innovative topics to also develop and to prepare for the future. And while those 44% of manufacturers deal with maintain and run and update of existing systems, there are also the others, about 56%, that are investing in innovative topics and projects. So given that the future will continue to be volatile and uncertain, those manufacturers will be actually most successful that anticipate and respond to changing market and customer requirements fast. And the goal of what we call a future enterprise is to be able to react to changing market conditions in a timely and flexible manner, while at the same time, the future will definitely continue to be volatile and uncertain. And in order to support organizations on their journey towards becoming such a future enterprise, IDC has developed a framework. And this framework describes the key capabilities for organizations for building up what we call actually digital resiliency. And what we mean with digital resiliency is the ability for an organization to rapidly adapt to business disruptions by leveraging digital capabilities to not only restore business operations, but also to capitalize on any changed conditions. And what does this digital resiliency framework look like? Basically, the framework consists of 6 dimensions. operations, brand and reputation, customers and ecosystems, workforce, financial and leadership in organizations. And the key is that all of these 6 dimensions need to be considered when building up digital resiliency. And within each of these dimensions, each manufacturer will for sure have different business priorities, different use cases, and enabling technologies that can be applied. And also for organizations, it will be critical to build a roadmap towards the fully digital enterprise or digital resilient enterprise, depending also on the individual digital maturity of each organization. But let me show you some examples of how manufacturing organizations can work with this framework. Let's start with the dimension operational resilience. This is about ensuring greater resilience of supply chains to avoid supply chain bottlenecks. It is also about increasing visibility across the entire supplier network. And it's also about ensuring that the factories itself do not become a bottleneck in order fulfillment. So basically, factory and supply chain operations need to be managed in a way that ensures ongoing operations also in times of a pandemic or any other unexpected incidents. And in fact, our research shows that manufacturers have also concrete investment plans, for example, related to strategic asset management, autonomous factory operations, or real-time supply chain intelligence and planning. And all of these use cases have the goal to make shop floor or supply chain operations more efficient and effective, and thereby also more resilient. And in order to invest in these areas, digital technologies will be major enablers. And just as an example, technologies that are important here relate to IT/OT integration and related security concepts, because one major concern relates to capturing data from the OT domain and thereby integrating and opening up to a certain extent the IT world is to ensure security. And of course, to turn this OT data into meaningful and actionable insights, technologies such as data analytics or AI will play an important role. And also, in order to increase transparency across distributed plants or networks of factories, cloud-based digital platforms to exchange data across plants or to exchange data with suppliers or customers will play an increasingly important role. As another example, in our digital resiliency framework, I have chosen the customer and ecosystem dimension. And why is this dimension important? And the thing is, our research shows that currently only 27% of manufacturing organizations in Europe have a clear and timely visibility into its ecosystem, thereby actually limiting the ability to adapt rapidly to any changing conditions. And with ecosystem, I mean actually customers, suppliers, and other partners. And given today's ongoing uncertainty, it will be key to have better visibility also into the ecosystem to adapt more rapidly to any unexpected behavior of consumers and customer demands or unexpected events in the supply chain. And actually, a recent example is that the book market is currently experiencing a lack of paper to produce books, because some big paper producers in Europe have shifted their production from paper to books, paper for books to paper for packaging. So because digital commerce suddenly is booming due to COVID, and suddenly this results in a lack of paper supply for the books industry. And this is actually important to anticipate early, right? In order to fulfill on customer demands, in that example, to fulfill on book orders. And what is needed to increase customer and ecosystem resiliency? What are some of the enabling technologies? And there I can share or can mention cloud-based platforms will act, and cloud-based solutions act actually as an integration layer to connect all relevant stakeholders in the ecosystem and supply chain. And also, of course, modern cloud-based ERP solution with appropriate APIs that allow easy integration with other relevant applications, such as with CRM applications, supply chain planning and execution systems, or with transportation management applications. And of course, again, data analytics and AI capabilities are also enablers to turn operational data from suppliers or from customers or from transportation providers into actionable insights. Also, another example in our digital resiliency framework I've chosen is the leadership and organization dimension. And why is this dimension important? And this is because there is an enterprise need to ensure, on one hand, long-term economical sustainability, but at the same time, growth. And the exact goal, of course, depends on the purpose of an organization. But in any case, this is a leadership task. And we see that, for example, for 22%, customers and innovations are among the most important business priorities for manufacturers in Europe. And in this context, new business models are a topic that we see a lot of manufacturers looking into. And I can also share that according to our research, 23% of manufacturers are already using new business models, such as pay-per-use or outcome-based business models, which are using 26%. However, this strongly also depends on the manufacturing sub-segment. Nevertheless, what are some of the enabling technologies for that in that dimension? First, what is needed are IT infrastructures and connectivity that ensure secure and reliable transmission of correct usage or outcome data. Again, cloud-based platform solutions that are, again, scalable, or in particular scalable, and that also provide APIs to ensure availability also of applications from partners and third-party suppliers. Especially when solutions include products or services from third-party solutions, those need to support billing and revenue management of various monetization and business models, such as subscription-based, pay-per-usage, pay-per-outcome. So, to summarize, digital technologies can be considered as enablers of digital resiliency in our framework. And at the heart of digital technologies is what IDC calls the intelligent core. And this is comprising of data streams, data lakes, databases, as well as analytics and AI capabilities to turn data, again, into actionable insights. Then what's also needed are, of course, intelligent applications and intelligent services, such as providing cloud-based platforms or appropriate enterprise applications that build the foundation to utilize that data. So what are actually the key topics that I want you to take away from this session today? First, the future definitely is going to continue to be volatile and uncertain, and it will be increasingly digital. And to operate in this digital economy, future enterprises will need to be digital and resilient. And therefore, we offer our framework of our digital resiliency framework. And within that framework, you will see, or you have seen, that we strongly recommend that manufacturers will have to address all of the 6 dimensions holistically in order to become truly digital resilient. So that was the second point. And the fourth point is digital technologies, such as, just to mention a few, cloud, data analytics, AI, automation, IoT, security, of course, are major enablers on a manufacturer's journey to digital resiliency. And last point, for sure, modern cloud-based ERP solutions with appropriate APIs that allow easy integration with all sorts of relevant applications from internal and external stakeholders in the ecosystems are major enablers as well. Thank you very much.